Good evening, this is Eswatini TV News at 8. I am Natalie Sitole alongside Namakabisan Kambule. First up, let's have a look at our top stories.
His Majesty King Mswati III has attended the Youth Summit for Commonwealth Heads of States in London. The Elections and Boundaries Commission has announced dates for primary and secondary elections. Eswatini Air has for the first time taken its maiden flight from the King Mswati III International Airport to Durban.
Glad you could join us. His Majesty King Mswati III has arrived in London for the coronation of King Charles III, which is expected to take place tomorrow. His Majesty is accompanied by Nkosikazi Magelambigiza.
The King and Ingwenyama, His Majesty King Mswati III, has landed in London to join world leaders in witnessing the coronation event of His Majesty King Charles III. His Majesty is accompanied by Nkosikazi Magelambigiza. Upon arrival, His Majesty was welcomed by the representative of the British royal family and a representative from government. Her Excellency Thandazile Mbuyisa, the ambassador representing the Kingdom of Eswatini in the United Kingdom, was also present.
Your Majesty, and Frank Arnold, a very warm welcome to the Savoy. We are honored to have you at the Savoy. And my team is here. Welcome, Your Majesty.
Relations between the two kingdoms have remained strong and they have been existing for so many years. Hence, the presence of His Majesty in this event is important. Also present in His Majesty's delegation is Prince Kuduza, Princess Sanzile, Invuna Mongomeni Nzimanze, and the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation. The ceremony will be held at the Church House in London, where His Majesty King Charles III will be crowned alongside the Queen Consort Camilla. The event will take place 8 months on from his automatic appointment as King on September 8 last year. The hype and the excitement is on a very high note already, as the public, including tourists and journalists, have started gathering around the premises where the event will be held. On the news, I'm Polile Mazia in London.
His Majesty King Mswati III has attended the Youth Summit for Commonwealth Heads of States at the Marlborough House in London. This summit follows a declaration that was made by leaders at the 2022 summit in Rwanda, which declared the year 2023 as the year for the youth. His Majesty was accompanied by Nkosikazi Magelambigiza.
While in London, His Majesty King Mswati III and Nkosikazi Magelambigiza continued with a number of duties. His Majesty King Charles and His Majesty King Mswati III and other Commonwealth Heads of State had a closed session meeting at Marlborough House in London, whereby the leaders were discussing youth issues, while Nkosikazi Magelambigiza joined spouses and partners of Commonwealth leaders to discuss issues around the cancer of the cervix. The spouses and partners of the leaders have committed to action on cervix cancer elimination. At the Commonwealth Heads of Government 2022, leaders declared 2023 as a year dedicated to the youth-led action for sustainable and inclusive development. This year was declared as the year for the youth. His Majesty King Mswati III has prioritized issues of youth empowerment in Eswatini by enabling empowerment environment for the youth innovation and creativity to flourish. His Majesty has also encouraged the youth in Eswatini to take advantage of all the opportunities available to them in the country. Eswatini TV will bring you live the coronation of King Charles III tomorrow on Saturday morning. On the news, I'm Polile Mazia in London.
Their Majesties have blessed voter registration dates, validation of voters' roll, nominations, primary and secondary election dates. This announcement was made by the Elections and Boundaries Commission's chairperson, Prince Mhlaphlangene, in a press briefing at Nkanini.
This announcement is made under royal proclamation of His Majesty the King. And the announcement is as follows as it relates to the election stage. Firstly, we have voter registration. Voter registration, the dates allocated for and blessed by their Majesties is the 10th of May to the 14th of June. And then what follows, in terms of having been blessed equally so, is the validation of the voters' roll and transfers, which is scheduled for the 22nd of June to the 12th of July. And then what follows is the stage of nominations within the election stage, and the dates for nominations are the 22nd of July and the 23rd of July. And then we have then also the next stage of special voting under the primary election stage. That is the 22nd of August, which then is followed by the actual primary election being on the 26th of August this year. After the primary elections, what follows is the campaign stage, which precedes every secondary election in the country. And the duration for the campaign stage is from the 27th of August to the 27th of September. And then on the 26th of September, we have special voting under the secondary election. And then finally, we have our secondary election, the main event, that marks the end of the election process, is scheduled for the 29th of September this year.
Eswatini Air has taken its maiden flight from the King Mswati III International Airport to KwaZulu-Natal today. This is the third route to be made by Eswatini Air following Johannesburg and Harare. Passengers who flew to Durban in the maiden flight include Minister of Tourism and Environmental Affairs Moses Vilakazi, legislators and other dignitaries.
Minister of Tourism and Environmental Affairs Moses Vilakazi says the launch of the flight to Durban means the distance from Eswatini to Durban has been reduced to just an hour. Vilakazi says this is good news for business people who will want to fly to Durban for business purposes and quickly return to Eswatini. Vilakazi says tourism stands to benefit.
Lapho kutabe kugcwele abantu khona tulu wabo 30,000 40,000 labanye babo bathi kodwa sitawuda njani eSwatini sitawukhona yini kudriver sisuke kubo Jozi sisuke kubo Cape Town sisuke kubo Durban sisuke kubo Mozambique sithi ke sinenyana so nayo le alternative so ungathatha indiza uyifike ekhaya futhi ke le ndiza yethu na ugibelela ku ibuzo ungathi nje uhlete empetheni ngale ndlela le yenta ngayo laba pilots
Vilakazi says many people want to come to Eswatini and this is just an additional alternative for them to consider when coming to the kingdom. The maiden flight took off at 10:30 a.m. and arrived in Durban an hour later. For Eswatini TV News, Temgosima Vimbela with Kumbuzo Dlamini, Sikupe.
The Minister for Tourism, Moses Vilagati, says the Eswatini Air flight from King Mswati, the third international airport, to King Shaka International Airport in Durban will help strengthen business, leisure and culture between the two countries. The minister was speaking shortly after Eswatini Air landed in Durban.
The Minister for Tourism, Moses Vilagati, who also represented the Minister for Public Works, Chief Ndlalihlaza, when being welcomed at King Shaka International Airport, got the chance to invite all participants to the upcoming MTN Bushfire Festival and other cultural events hosted by Eswatini. He says Eswatini looks forward to doing good business with KwaZulu-Natal so that poverty is eliminated within the region.
Nyalo nje sidabe sinemcimbi webushfire la kusukela mhla ka26 wa May to the 28th lapho Stone Member khona nonke Stone Member utake lapho ugqoke dancing shoes ngoba vele kuyadanswa ngumcimbi lona losomkhulu kakhulu MEC.
The board chairperson of Eswatini Air, Mdeni Mazibuko, says it is time to witness the turnaround of how Eswatini connects with Durban in business, tourism and leisure.
Within the next 2 days, the African Airline Association will be hosting a convention center in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. This convention is about changing the narrative for aviation in Africa. It resonates well with what we are doing here. We are changing the narrative between Eswatini and Durban.
Durban MEC Siboniso Duma, when welcoming the Eswatini delegation to Durban, said this relationship is economical and sustainable since it will also help to preserve history between the two countries as the plane moves from King Mswati, the third international airport, to King Shaka International Airport.
Creating tourism, leisure, and ensuring that we sustain. There's a nice eastern route anyway, ehlanganisa KwaZulu-Natal, Mozambique, Swatini, so ivalley exista and so qhubeka siyenze. Kunalo mkhosi wamagani obakhona njalo enkosini uNtembe baye bafike bakithi bazokwazi banathe kanye nathi sibe kahle nje, so usiko lethu liyasivumela, so I'm sure this will boost our ecotourism at the same time.
Flights from Eswatini to Durban can be accessed daily from the 1st of June this year. This report has been compiled by Sipiwo and Sikhumbuzo Dlamini at King Shaka International Airport, Durban.
Passengers on board Eswatini Air en route to King Shaka International Airport from Sikupe say they had a pleasant flight and it will now be easier for them to travel between Eswatini and Durban for different reasons.
Bengithi nje ngitodivela nami ngale ndiza yethu lensha uthi kanjani ngeke ngagibela kanye namhla bekwesi2 ngilokuthi siba nema delegation nema trips vele laba regional, so nami nangifike office sengidawukhuluma ngendlela ngiyadika in the next few weeks nje sibuke ukuthi khona emaswati la tawahamba aye ku General Assembly yakakhandesa. I'm definitely going to actually propose ukuthi sihambe ngale Eswatini Air.
Lengunotisile ukuthi bengishayele ngiye eDurban ukhanze ukuthi buthatha close to 6 hours, kepha na uhamba ngale ndiza le it's close to about 15 minutes ulokusho ukuthi kunaphasi ngisho kwele hour kuya khona and na ubuka nale mali lo ibhadalako kuya khona imali le phose affordable kakhulu mawubuka lo hambo.
It was amazing. The service was beautiful. And the reception in Asifika at King Shaka was amazing. We felt a royal touch from King Mswati, the third international airport, to King Shaka International Airport. So it was really a royal touch. You felt the love, you felt the people, and you felt the reception was amazing.
Minister of Education and Training, Lady Howard, has received the new look Manyanzeni primary classrooms. The school has been revamped by MTN Eswatini, Swazi Employment Limited and Micro Projects, which constructed a new block of classrooms, ablution facilities and fixed dilapidated structures at the school. This project is said to have cost around 1.5 million emalangeni.
Manyanzani Primary School head teacher Jigile Njangase says children walk very long distances to alternative schools in the Republic of South Africa as their area is near the borderline.
Manje ke bayayithatha ingane ke lesikole mangifika la bese kuyihazard lama class make minister besiwa vele ngicabanga ukuthi ngesinye isizathu abenze bayithatha ingane bayihudula bayishonisa enyonyana bayihudula bayishonisa eNtasifana kodwa ngiyanicela mina ngibubele benkosi yami uJesu Kristu sesisakhile phela isikole abazali baseManyandeni babe chief uNdlangamandla babe chief wakumabona Bulawa ngoba lesikole sakhele imiphakathi emibili kufunda ingane zasemgazini zakanDlangamandla la ngiyacela mina abantwana benkosi ukuthi musana ukudlala ngezingane nezihudula ingane ezincane noyishonisa le ngiyengibone ngapha ukuthi ukuhudula ubhaka ungaka ukuhudula kuhambe about 15 to 20 kilometers kuya eNtasifana.
The Ministry of Education and Training says many schools face the same challenge as this one.
The ministry per year receives numerous letters from schools through the offices of the regional education officers requesting for assistance in the form of infrastructure and rehabilitation of the dilapidated structures. It is on this premise to mention that this support will go a long way in meeting the infrastructure needs in this.
Donors say they were shocked by what they saw during their inspection of the school.
Mangikhumbula mhla ka-9 March 2022 sifika la sitobona lesikolo ingqondo yayimangala ungafuni ukutshengisa lokuthi wethukile uzama nje ukuthi bamba simile kodwa kubonakala lokuthi ikhona lento lesethusa thusako njengoba bekasake wabeka athishela lomkhulu.
The Royal Kroll has welcomed this development.
Phathe isikolwa uye wabona mafika la lokuthi lesikolo sifuna kwakhiwa sifuna kulungiswa kunamuhla ke lesikolo sesihle ngako nje ke ukuthi ube nalo leso lokubona lokubi umphathe isikolo ingakho ke athe uyabonga kakhulu kuye.
The school has 96 pupils and this rehabilitation is envisaged to draw more pupils to it in coming years. For Eswatini TV News, Temgosi Mavimbela with Themba Shabangu, Manyanzeni.
The Minister for Housing and Urban Development, Prince Simelane, says his ministry, in collaboration with other ministries, is working on ensuring that infrastructure, especially in towns, is able to withstand conditions brought by climate change. Prince Simelane was speaking during the official reopening of the Manzini market, where he was represented by the Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Housing, Clifford Mamba.
Following the closure of the Manzini market for renovations, the market was officially opened on Friday. The Manzini market was established in 1968 by King Sobhuza II and was meant to house local entrepreneurs who sell and provide different services. Speaking during the opening ceremony, the Minister for Housing and Urban Development, Prince Simelane, represented by the Principal Secretary in the Ministry, Clifford Mamba, says they are working on ensuring that structures, especially in cities and towns, are constructed in a way that it will be able to withstand all climate conditions. Mamba says the safety of eMaswati is a priority.
Njengahulumende wembube abuka simo emhlabeni nje wonkana kule climate change phecelezi ukushintsha kwesimo selitulu siyakhulumisana nematiko lafanele ikakhulu Ministry of Works ekusaneni kule takhiwo nje letikhona letisukumako naletinye lesetikhona ke jala lethola kuvusetelwa ukuthi ke dimane vele tibambe lesigaba lesifanele ekuthaneni sikhone kugwema lesimo selitulu esiphele kushintsha lapha nje market sitawukhumbula ezathwethu lokuthi bekusetshenziswa iasbestos phecelezi yekufulela la wahamba khansi iasbestos iyahlupha esive emaphaphu iyawashisa ikwenta njani wakhathi Manzini nje abesusa wona khona lesive senkosi lesisebentela lapha sito usebenta ngekuphepha siqhubeke sikhicite lesikhicita.
The Manzini Municipal Council's acting CEO, Simphiwe Malaza, revealed the history behind the construction of the market. Malaza says the objective of the market was also to economically empower eMaswati through small-scale entrepreneurship. In view of the demand for trading space by eMaswati, it was later extended through construction of an additional structure, which was a double-story handcraft section in 1983. Ever since the establishment, only basic maintenance works had been carried out on the facility. Eswatini, TV News Sondomlangeni, Manzini.
The Ministry of Information, Communications and Technology says it will do all it can to ensure that the Royal Science and Technology Park achieves its original objectives. The ministry is currently capacitating legislators about the RSTP Bill of 2020. Principal Secretary Pesha Dube says they are grateful to the lawmakers for putting their efforts in ensuring that this bill passes.
Government built the Royal Science Technology Park with aims which included advancing research and boosting the economy. In the absence of proper legislation like the Royal Science and Technology Bill of 2020, the Songqondvo building would turn into a white elephant.
Umthetho lona mavimbela lobuke kusebenza kwayo tindzaba tabo Songqondvo nabo biotechnology park sitowubuka wona ukuthi sochibele ungabi nemafindvo la unamafindvo khona siwachacha siwasombulule lamafindvo empeleni kumcoka lokuthi kube nalemithetho lefana le ngoba ngiyo lenta lokuthi le park ibese seyisebenza ngalendlela lefanele ukuthi isebenze ngayo noma ke isebenze ngama expectations lesiwabhekile. It's not the only law meaning limited. One of them the National Research Council Bill.
Legislators say there would be no value in having the RSTP without proper legislation.
The dream and the vision was there, but the legislation was a little bit silent. Kokuthi khona lokuachieveka letinto leklapha. So mayiphasa njengoba itenge certificate of agents which means kuyakhombisa kokuthi imcoka kanganani taw solve a lot of tinkinga letikhona especially on issues of innovation, issues of creativity, issues of employment and issues nje kokuthi anything related to ICT buphakanyiswa kanjani to the higher level.
The ministry has thanked legislators and other stakeholders for their contribution to the bill. For Eswatini TV News, Temgosi Mavimbela, Manzini.
And now let's have a look at our financial indicators.
Can be.
We begin our sports roundup with the National Football Association that has handed over a sponsorship to the Eswatini Referees Association of 50 kits and 18 kits to women national team to be given to teams under the National Women's League. The sponsorship is worth over 400,000 emalangeni. Eswatini Football Association President Peter Smilane says this is in line with the development of local football.
We begin our sports roundup with the National Football Association that has handed over a sponsorship to the Eswatini Referees Association of 50 kits and 18 kits to the Women Football Association that will be handed over to the 13 teams under the Women National League. The sponsorship is worth over 400,000 emalangeni. Eswatini Football Association President Peter Simelane says this is in line with the development of local football.
Umsebenzi wethu ne-mandate yethu ukudevelopa i-football in the country. Siyabona sibhola lokuthi ngala kubomake sente sure lokuthi idevelopeka more. Siba encourage ngalokuthi vele cishe kula sesisele ngakhona emuva nabo Rafaela ke on the other hand sifuna ba developeke nale lesibaniketa kona le gesture sentela lokuthi batoba nemidlandla uma ba Rafaela ene babonakala lokuthi nabo basebholeni baphethwe ibhola.
Moving on in boxing, following the exit of the national boxing team at the World Championships currently ongoing in Uzbekistan, the team of Zweli Dlamini, Chawe Kamete, Sibonelo Nzimanze, and Tabiso Dlamini, who are the boxers alongside Coach Mbendulo Bingo and Patrick Smenane, are currently taking part of different workshops. The national team, together with the Eswatini Boxing Association, believe the chance to take part of these workshops will improve their knowledge about the sport. Moving on in swimming, The swimming national team continued to raise the country's flag higher in Angola at the Cana Zone 4 Games, where by the time of compiling this report, the country was sitting with 6 medals, 2 golds, 2 silver medals, and 2 bronze medals. And in our international news, Napoli are the champions of Serie A in Italy for the very first time in 33 years. This follows the team's 1-0 draw against Udinese on Thursday evening. For Eswatini TV Sports, Fabrice Msonera, Babane.
That's all for now. Before I go, here's a reminder of our top stories. His Majesty King Mswati III has attended the Youth Summit for Commonwealth Heads of States in London. The Elections and Boundaries Commission has announced dates for primary and secondary elections. Eswatini Air has for the first time taken its maiden flight from the King Mswati III International Airport to Durban. And with that, we sum up our bulletin for the evening. Up next is the update from myself and the team. Thank you for your company. Good night.